Hi, good morning everybody. I'll be talking about managing Pentest today, and at the end of the session I will also present one open source tool which you all can use to manage your Pentest. I want to thank our sponsors who have been with us for this event, OWASP New Zealand. So all thanks to them. Without them, this huge information exchange would not happen. So thanks to them. So agenda would be, I would be introducing myself, and we'll start with basics of what is Pentest, what are the challenges when we have to run the Pentest, what are the problems that are being solved by the tool that I'm presenting today, and why we have to use this tool. And obviously I'm open to all the suggestions that you guys put in, and at the end of the day we'll do one tool demo live. Myself, Jyoti Raval. I work as a staff product security engineer with Harness. I'm responsible for securing our product end to end. We are into CI/CD space. I'm application security enthusiast. I like everything about application security in general. Before this, I got a chance to present at Black Hat, DEF CON, NILCON, InfoSec Girls, HITB Singapore, and OWASP. I also authored one tool called Phishing Simulation Assessment, which is also an open source tool along with the one that I'm going to present today. I head OS Pune chapter. Pune is a city in India, and my GitHub handle is Jenny Raval. So let's start with basics. What is pen testing? I know most of you already know, but it is also basically ethically simulating attacks that attacker would perform on your system such that you know the weaknesses of your system before the attacker knows. So on which all assets do we perform pen test? You could perform pen test on network or your wireless WANs, your thick clients, your Dockers, web apps, or you could also do some social engineering attacks. So this activity in general is called as pen test, where you attack your systems from various ends, but you just simulate the attacks, you don't necessarily damage it, and then you observe the actions. Now imagine a scenario where you have an organization. The organization is assuming medium to large size of organization. You have various departments, various product lines managing their own little bit modules of the product, and each of them have to do their pen test, right? And pen test can be done by your internal pen testing team. You could have your bug bounty programs running in. You could have your third-party pentesters who are doing pen tests for you. So basically now imagine the scenario where you have different departments in the organization. All of them have their internal pen test running, your bug bounty hunters and your bug bounty programs which are reporting the findings, and then you have external pen test. So all of this you need to manage all of them, okay? Because now imagine you as a part of CISO, and you are part of CISO department, you have to manage all of this pen test concurrently. You have to know which all departments are running which all pen test, where are they, what is the current risk posture, how is it going, you have to track them. Basically you have to manage them, which is challenge in itself. So what are the challenges basically which is faced by organizations today? Lack of holistic view. What do we mean by lack of holistic view? As I said, we have many departments. All of them are running their own pen test. Now, I want to understand as a part of CISO department that where my pen test are heading. What is the current state of pen test? Which module is going to go live when? What is the current risk posture? Where are we heading towards? Are we building a safe organization or not? Are my pen tester busy enough? So that kind of holistic view I'm not able to get. Lack of analytics. If I want to understand today that I want to see how many high, medium, low findings I have in my organization, basically what I need to do is take out Excel sheets of all these 3, 4, 5 departments, collate them, do a sum of them, and then analyze how many high, medium, and low findings I have, which is cumbersome. Historical data analytics. Today, if I want to go back and see how many findings we are repeatedly reporting. So for example, SQL injection, we fixed once, then it got reopened again, we again fixed, and then reopened. Or there are any previous findings which we were not able to fix at all. So that kind of historical data analytics, if I want to do, I really have to go back to all the reports, open it, maybe it's Word or Excel or maybe some tool output, and then you have to take out all the data out of it, which is a huge task. Pentest activity knowledge base. Now imagine that you have a team of 20 pentesters. Today you are, let's assume in an organization you are going to give your HRM system testing to one of the pentester. Tomorrow he might leave or he has some other commitments. Now that one pentester had done testing of one HRM module, next time you're going to give it to another pentester. Now there is no way that they are going to exchange the information about the module and about the knowledge of the pentest itself. So basically they have to rely on word of mouth information where there is nothing is stored. He will pass on whatever he knows or whatever is there on his top of head. Otherwise, what we actually need is we need a pentest activity knowledge base where we know that in previous pentest this all things has happened. These are the main area of focus. This was the weakness. This is extremely crucial functionality which needs to be tested. Information accuracy, very much relating to previous point that because one pentester passes information to another pentester, some information might get lost. So information accuracy is very low. Lack of tracking and measuring capabilities. The point I'm trying to convey with this is, let's say, as I mentioned, you have 10, 20 pentester. Now you want to know which all pentesters would be free, by when, all the product managers are behind you because they want to go live for the products. So you cannot plan nicely because you do not know which pentester is free or can they accommodate one more testing, or you do not know whether this module was worth spending 4 weeks, 5 weeks or no. If you want to nicely track and measure how efficiently you could manage your pentesters and pentest, we need a way. No automation right now. As I said, we have to open different reports coming from bug bounties, third party pentester giving reports in Word. We have our own Excels. We export report from various tools, so those CSV. Combining all of those and writing those scripts is hard. Collaboration inefficiency. As I mentioned, if 2 pentesters, 3 pentesters, and as the team grows, if we want to collaborate with each other in order to do one pentest, it's very hard. Lack of visibility. As I mentioned, in lack of holistic view, the visibility of how the pentests are progressing. So for example, you are in middle of pentest and you want to know how many findings that we have found. Otherwise, what would happen is pentester would create report at the end of pentest, and that's when you would know. Otherwise, he would have to write a mail, send one by one emails to each of the product owners, which is hard. Ad hoc processes. Right now, one pentester could take one approach, other pentester could take another approach. We need a platform where we just take one unified approach. So irrespective who the pentester is, the outcome is going to be same. Now, out of this, which all problems MPT solve? So we do have asset database here to know which all organization assets are there. For example, you have 5 departments, and if you just maintain it in an Excel sheet or in a Word, then you might lose track of it. So we need one asset database to know which all applications are actually existing in your system, out of which all are tested, which are not tested, which are lined up for testing. Because if you do not have asset DB, you simply cannot secure what you're not aware of. Tracking each pentest and activities in real time. We want to track, as I mentioned, how the pen tests are running, which activity is in which state right now, when it is going to be finished, how the findings are going, how the risk posture is looking. Pen test activity knowledge, which comprise of what particular, let's say, application does or the purpose of hardware that we are testing. This basically helps building a pen test knowledge base. You know that, for example, you're testing a payment activity. You might want to highlight in your testing that, hey, this is the area of code which is vulnerable, which we found vulnerable since consistent 3, 4, 5 times. Pay a very good attention to this. Some department want to pay very good attention to, let's say, only XSS type of issue, because that is the class of issues that they have recently fixed. So basically you can do knowledge transfer. When next pen tester takes over testing, they have to do is view the set and associated information which is already there. So as I mentioned in last scenario, if your next pen tester want to take the testing now onwards, all they have to do is go back to the DB, look at all the information that is being already tested and the knowledge about DB, and just take from there on. Time taken for each pen test, you know, when you're putting senior resources, when you're putting junior resources, when you're putting combination of both, you know how time is being spent on a particular pen test. You could manage your resources better. Issue status, your current issue status, whether it is fixed, it is in progress, it is not even being looked at, or it is even considered. Trend analysis of vulnerabilities observed during multiple pen testing. Like I was mentioning, I want to analyze which kind of vulnerabilities that we are recently seeing. Why I'm proposing this solution? It has security pen test analytics, which helps us to track and view everything in single pane of glass. We don't have to report. We don't have to open 5, 6 different reports. Finding improvement areas to boost pen tester productivity. We could manage our resources better. Understand the current risk posture. Looking at the current findings, I could understand where my organization is heading towards, how many high, medium, low findings I have open. Understand recurring issue where we are failing again and again. It's very easy to identify that this is the area of improvement for us. Average amount of time taken for each pen test versus assess scope. Understand this as a t-shirt sizing. If your asset is of small, medium, large size, then the amount of time taken to pen test should also proportionate to what your asset size is. Average high, medium, low fixing time. You want to analyze that how much time your developer took on an average to fix particular severity of vulnerability. Most number of vulnerabilities fixed in a year. Class of new vulnerabilities reported, right? So each year we have new class of vulnerabilities coming up. You see OWASP taking time to refresh their top 10 list every now and then. Reason being, the old class of vulnerabilities gets obsolete and new class of vulnerabilities takes time. So we have to also analyze whether we are spending time in fixing new class of vulnerabilities or we are still way back. Developer trends. How the developers are reacting towards your vulnerability reportings. Are they able to understand? Are they able to fix the vulnerabilities? Open findings, this basically relates with your current risk posture. Critical assessments, so for some organization, if they are releasing payments functionality, which is much more crucial than maybe their HRM, because there is a direct association of financial loss there. Asset health, how your particular module or department is in terms of health. Top pen tester reported findings. Here you can analyze whether your internal pen testing team is at par with your third-party pen testers or your bug bounty hunters. You can basically find a trend analytics of which is the team which is giving you best output. Average busy time for each pentester. You could know that each of the pentester is busy for, basically you don't want to overload any of your resources. We'll go to tool demo. Before that, I want to mention that it's an open source tool. You all could go ahead, do a simple installation and run a tool. I would give time for questions. Before that, I want to go to tool demo first. So this is how it looks like. So right now I am in assets. So if I click on create asset, all I have to do is, basically what I'm trying to do is creating a asset DB. So you have to just mention your asset name here. It could be any of your organization. Asset could be your web, API network, your Docker file, your config reviews or mobile reviews. Here you would put your asset description, which would mention that this asset is responsible for this. Asset size, imagine this as a t-shirt sizing, small, medium, large. Depending on that, pentester timing would be mapped. Asset coverage, whether you want to do default, where pentester would just do based on OS top 10, Sense 75 and all of that testing methodologies, or you want to do a time-bound testing. It's fixed that you want to go live by end of next month. So do a time-bound testing. Extensive, no matter how much amount of time it takes, it has to be thorough. Once you create an asset, a list of assets would be listed here. So for example, FinOps, your travel, your sales, HRM and everything, okay. So Pentest. Once you have your assets, you can create a associated pentest with that asset. One asset could have many pentests running, okay. Here you can select your assets which you have already created, target list. Here you can give your URLs, your IPs, or you can define the methodology, the way you want to attack particular asset. Testing focus, you can mention to testers. Credential, this is the part which I was talking about, that knowledge transfer, right? You want to mention to your next pen tester whether you have, how can you get the credential. You can just sign up, you can connect for the spoke, or you just don't need authentication. All you need to do is just start testing. The user roles and privileges information, number of user roles, this is mainly needed for attacks like privilege escalations and IDOS. And instruction or knowledge transfer, as I mentioned, here they would mention that please focus on this payment activity. Technology stack, this helps in mounting very tailored attacks on some systems. Target environment, you want to be very cautious if it's a production environment or pre-prod on QA. Whitelisting, in order to be in the, in order to reach that network, whether you need whitelisting or not. Sensitive business function, you mention here, is it fine to perform attacks like DOS, brute forcing and all of that? Test data, you can create, you cannot create. Estimated start date and end date, this basically helps better planning the pen test. Scope and asset size. Once you create your pen test will be listed here. So basically we know that this 4 pen tests are lined up and this is the asset size. Now coming back to issue tracker, now you want to see that particular asset has how many issues. So these FinOps has 2 pen tests performed, let's say, and then they have so many issues identified. And what is the current status of the issue? What is the severity and what is the remediation that is being suggested? If you look here at add issues, you can import all of your existing reports as well in the tool. All it will take is take issue name, severity, remediation and status from the report and import it everything in the Pentest DB. Okay. So, and here is the developer corner. All what developer have to do is come back to this corner and look at the pentest and start fixing the issue. So whosoever, so for example, first issue is in pending fix. Here he can go and change the pending fix to, let's say, closed or in progress. And here he can see how many lists of item are pending on his plate. Analytics, as I was mentioning, current risk posture, it tells us depending on the assets and pen test that you have created, how many current high, medium, low issues are there, what is the recurring issue. If you look at this graph, the percentage wise, how many issues has occurred, how many times. So based on here, you want to take understanding of which all issue you want to fix first. Average amount of time taken for each pen test versus asset size. If you look at the x-axis, it's a time versus scope. So for small pen test, the time taken is this, and medium and large. Basically, it should go in proportion with your time and scope. Class of new vulnerabilities identified over period of time. This basically analyzes your entire issue DB and says that these are the kind of vulnerabilities that are discovered over period of time. Open findings right now, as and when developer chooses there to change issue status to in progress or fixed, this changes. So right now on developers plate, there are so many high, medium, low finding. So this is your open finding list. Asset health, as I mentioned, right now developer has fixed relatively nice number of findings on sales proposal tracker versus let's say FinOps. So you know where your asset health is. Average busy time for each pen tester, as I was mentioning, you want to know how your pentesters are doing, how your resources are being allocated. So these represents your average busy time for a particular pentester. Developer trends, this represents the number of issues fixed by a developer on a particular period of time. If you see that this trends are going low, then what you might want to do is check with your developer with the amount of dependency that you have created. So basically this overall picture gives you idea of what is the current risk posture, where you're standing, how your developers are doing, how your pen testers are doing, overall what the risk score is. It also correlates information from various sources, your pen tester, external pen tester, bug bounty platforms, scanners. You can correlate all the information in one place. Yeah, so I think that was about it. If any questions, I can take questions. Yeah.
Maybe not a question, but an observation. I buy Pentests. Isn't it ironic that you only ever get a PDF? Like you get a PDF file that I can't manage in software like this. So that's quite an interesting idea of the vendors who do this pen test actually utilizing software like this. I don't know if anyone else has a pen test vendor who comes back with software to manage those rather than just a PDF.
So most times, if you go back to any tools, pen testing tools or bug bounty platforms or even third-party pen testers who do audits and all, they will give you reports in the form of PDF, in the form of Excel CSVs, which you could easily import here. So in general, for downloading reports, there will be various functionalities. So CSV would be mostly will be there. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah.
So one question. About this tool, MPT. So it's more about the management of pen testing work, right? So on that board, consider the first tab, the asset and the pen test. Who is the responsible person to manage that? The reason why I'm asking, because if you go to that asset, not asset, pen test tab, it has one columns testing focus. So that's one of the key thing, like who will decide the testing focus, whether it is going to be the complete OWASP top 10 or specific to cross-site scripting. So who defines that?
So two things, right? Whenever in your CISO department any pen test starts, you first it comes from engineering, and when you go to your engineering SPOC, they generally define that they come with a requirement that this is the testing that they want to perform. This is their go live date. Depending on, and they also do a product walkthrough for us. Depending on whatever information we have received in that phase, CISO departments, basically pen testers, decide whether they could go ahead with just popular methodologies because they have very stringent go live date, or they could also go back and tell them that this being extremely critical functionality like payments, we cannot do a time bound testing. We are going to do an extensive testing and we are going to test everything about this. So this is basically a discussion phase between engineering and pentesters, security department, where they come on a single point of conclusion that this is the way. But in order to fill up this is the only authority of security department to decide which all methodologies would be used.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Jyoti.
Thank you.